Welcome once again to Musings by Danon. In the aughts, there were three big shonen series, dubbed the Big Three, that were some of the most popular anime of the decade. For those too young to remember, allow me to enlighten you. Naruto was a series about some kids training to be ninjas. One Piece is about a boy wanting to become king of the pirates. Bleach was about a boy wanting to protect his friends and family from monsters. There, you're all caught up. Please like and subscribe for more content. Okay, but seriously, I'm not going to go into full detail about the separate series. One Piece would take days to cover because of how massive it is. Naruto I can't say too much about because the fandom put such a bad taste in my mouth that I wanted nothing to do with the series. And Bleach has a host of problems on its own. Issues with pacing, story coherency, power scaling, and retconning, just to name a few. But Naruto has a loyal fan base that still loves it. And for the most part, Naruto fans have grown up to become respectable weebs. No matter how many non-believers complaining about how long One Piece is, it's still the greatest shonen manga ever printed. And Bleach stands out by having the best style of the three, as well as the best one-sided beatdown fights. No one does one-sided beatdown fights as well as Kubo. But what I'd like to talk about today is scene composition in manga. Understand, I come from a literary background and majored in English literature in college, so art is not my main focus. But I have studied art a bit and have some formal art training. Additionally, I grew up reading American comic books on top of fantasy novels. I remember the golden age of X-Men when Chris Claremont was still at the helm. I watched Bane break Batman's back in the Nightfall arc. I remember Thanos' original finger snap back in 1991. I read in horror as Ozymandias told Night Owl and Rorschach that he did it 35 minutes ago at the climax of Watchmen. I was there when Superman and Doomsday beat each other to death. When looking at good manga or good American comic books, the artist creates each panel with care. Your eyes are drawn naturally from one to the next. Smaller panels into larger ones, angled sometimes to throw your eye off kilter, strange points of view making you uncomfortable. Junji Ito is a master of this, but these techniques are not limited to horror manga. In shonen action manga, splash pages are often used for major combat events in the series, while in slice of life they're used to show major plot development points. For example, in Chapter 1 of One Piece, it isn't until Luffy punches the Sea King that ate Shanks' arm that we get a splash page. In Murata's redrawing of One Punch Man, there are 2 splash pages in the first chapter, showing how powerful Saitama is. In Komi Can't Communicate, though, the first splash page isn't until Chapter 6 during the chalkboard scene. And in Chapter 302, we got another splash page, followed by 5 pages each with only one image, all beautifully drawn. No, I won't tell you what happens. It's a spoiler. Go read it yourself. But what other subtle techniques do artists use to tell a story? The placement and size of each panel in a manga is used to set the pacing of the story. Size of each panel can be important, but it's not the only thing going on. For example, in recent One Piece chapters, there will be a faux splash page surrounded by many smaller panels. The main action is happening in the giant image, while the supporting actions or reactions of the characters can be seen in the surrounding images. This is something we do subconsciously while reading manga. Our brains are just wired to understand what's going on and how to interpret it. Another technique artists use is the shape of the panels. We're used to square or rectangular panels, and artists have been framing their work using the old reliable 90 degrees for centuries. We've also seen when the action spills off the panel, as if it's so intense it can't be contained by 4 walls. This technique is used both comedically and to build hype. But if a panel is off-kilter, it shows that things aren't lining up. Are we building towards something? Something is off, and the unusually shaped panels are used to help build that tension. Which brings me to the subject of today's video, Bleach. Specifically, Chapter 350 of the manga, The Lust, Part 4. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't read or watched Bleach. Ichigo is in Hueco Mundo trying to free Orihime from Aizen and his Arankar. At the start of the fight between Ichigo and Ulquiorra, Ichigo is being toyed with. It was all he could do to hang on to his sword against the might of Ulquiorra. And then Ulquiorra unleashes his true form. With the help of Ishida, Orihime makes it to the top of the castle just in time to see Ulquiorra blow a hole in Ichigo's chest. Orihime screams as Ichigo's lifeless body is unceremoniously dropped. She catches him and tries to use her power to heal him, but it's no use. In shock, not knowing what she's supposed to do, she screams his name, desperate for him to help her. Ichigo's corpse instinctually responds. And so ends Chapter 349. He hears her, and he must protect her. And this begins my favorite scene in Bleach. Chapter 350, page 5, starts out with a close-up of Orihime, her beautiful face contorted in agonized sorrow. She screams, tears coursing down her face. But something is off. The panels on page 4 all line up. They are sequential and even. But on page 5, something is wrong. Orihime's scream is slanted. Something is moving behind her. And as we get to the bottom of the page, the images zoom in on Orihime, and all of them are askew, showing us that something is still wrong. Notice how the bottoms of the images don't line up, and how the shape of each of the 3 panels is slightly off. We turn the page and are given another series of broken images. Orihime's shocked, tear-streaked face, some wild hair backlit by a twisted moon, and a sliver of a horned skull sandwiched between the manga title, chapter number, and chapter title. All the words are off. Compare this to just one chapter ago, chapter 349. The first 3 pages are all clean, square panels. The chapter title and number are neatly shown at the bottom of page 1 and 2. The panels all neatly line up. Ichigo dying is normal, because death is normal. People, even beloved heroes, die. But look at the lettering for chapter 350. The chaotic font, the varying sizes of the letters and numbers. You feel a sense of impending dread when you see these pages. Something has changed, and it may never be the same again. Haunted, you turn the page to see another splash page, and there stands Vasto Lorde Ichigo in all his dark glory. Wearing nothing but a sleeve and the tattered remnants of his pants, his horns upright and forceful, and strange markings surrounding the still gaping hole in his chest, Ichigo stands tall over Orihime, ready to do anything to protect her, including sacrificing his sanity and humanity. I know that Bleach isn't on very many people's top 10 or 3x3, and I'm not trying to argue that it should be. But there were some truly epic moments in Bleach that eclipsed the competition. Of the big 3, Oda is by far the best writer. Kishimoto had the best choreography. But Kubo was the coolest, and this scene proves it to me. Thanks for tuning in. I was excited to talk about Bleach, and I'm hopeful that the new series will be good. It always felt to me that Bleach should have ended much sooner than it did, but Jump kept it going due to the popularity of the manga. But even with all the problems in power scaling, awkward reveals, and a focus on inconsequential plot points, the manga was a lot of fun to read, and I'm excited for the anime to conclude the story. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. Please like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all again next time.